Welcome back to the Echo Classroom. Today we're going to break down the ASE Diastology chart and learn how to read it so it actually makes sense. Many people look at this ASE chart and feel overwhelmed, but it actually follows a very logical flow. Today, we're simply going to learn how to read the chart step by step. So we start at the top of the chart. When you first look at the ASE chart, the very first thing you see at the top are three measurements. These are the measurements that we use to determine whether filling pressures are elevated. So what counts as abnormal? Remember, these are simply the cutoff numbers. When any one of these cross the threshold, they're considered abnormal. Step 1, you look at the three core variables. At the top are three key measurements that estimate LV filling pressure. 1, you have the tissue Doppler E prime, which is related to relaxation. The way we look at this is, if the number is abnormal, it generally means the patient has reduced myocardial relaxation. So it's considered abnormal if the septal E prime is less than or equal to 6 centimeters per second, if the lateral E prime is less than or equal to 7 centimeters per second, or if the average E prime is less than or equal to 6.5 centimeters per second. The way we interpret this is a low E prime equals impaired relaxation, which is very common in diastolic dysfunction patients. Second, we look at the E to E prime ratio, which depicts filling pressure. This estimates the left atrial pressure. It is considered abnormal if the septal E to E prime ratio is greater than or equal to 15, if the lateral E to E prime ratio is greater than or equal to 13, or if the average E to E prime ratio is greater than or equal to 14. We interpret this as if you have a high E to E prime ratio, it means the patient has elevated left ventricular filling pressure. Third, we look at the TR velocity, which is the pulmonary pressure. This is an indirect sign of elevated left atrial pressure. This is considered abnormal if the TR velocity is greater than or equal to 2.8 meters per second, or if the pulmonary arterial systolic pressure is greater than or equal to 35 millimeters of mercury. So why do we look at this? We do because elevated LA pressure backs up and it moves through the pulmonary circulation, which ultimately increases TR velocity. So you should know that the algorithm uses a counting method. This ASE algorithm works like a voting system of sorts. So step 2, we will evaluate the pattern. So now we're going to look at how many abnormal variables exist. So basically, we count how many of the three measurements are abnormal. Case number 1, if all three are normal. So if you have normal left atrial pressure, it means normal diastolic function. If all the measurements are normal, you stop here. The patient has normal filling pressure. Case number 2, if only the E prime is reduced. This means relaxation is impaired, but the filling pressure is still normal. That's why we would have to go an extra step in this case. So the next step would be to look at the E to A ratio. Now, if the E to A ratio is less than or equal to 0.8, this basically is classic impaired relaxation. So the result would then be grade 1 diastolic dysfunction, where the patient presents with normal left atrial pressure. It represents early diastolic dysfunction. Now, if the E to A ratio is greater than 0.8, things are now less clear. So you're going to now move to the additional tests which appear in the purple box. This section helps determine whether filling pressure is elevated when the first measurements are inconclusive. In cases such as these, we would look at the LARS, the LAVI, and the IVRT. LARS stands for left atrial reservoir strain. It measures how much the left atrium stretches during ventricular systole as it fills with blood. A value less than or equal to 18% indicates severely reduced atrial compliance and suggests elevated left ventricular filling pressure. LAVI, which stands for left atrial volume index, measures the size of the left atrium adjusted for body surface area. A value greater than 34 milliliters indicates left atrial enlargement, reflecting chronic elevated filling pressures or long-standing diastolic dysfunction. IVRT, which stands for isovolumic relaxation time, this is the time between the aortic valve closure and the mitral valve opening, representing LV relaxation. A value less than or equal to 70 milliseconds suggests elevated left atrial pressures, which causes the mitral valve to open earlier and shortens the relaxation phase. If any supporting variable is present, we will then look at step 3 by using the supporting measurements. Remember, these confirm whether left atrial pressure is elevated. You look for any of the following. Pulmonary vein, which are the S and D waves, would be considered abnormal if the S and D ratio is less than or equal to 0.67. This would mean that diastolic pulmonary vein flow dominates, which translates to high LA pressure. Once the LA pressure is elevated, the next step is to grade the severity of diastolic dysfunction. Now let's talk about step 4, which is interpreting the results. At this point in the chart, we're trying to answer one key question. Is the left atrial pressure elevated or not? To determine that, the ASE chart asks us to look at additional supporting variables in the purple box. These include things like the pulmonary vein SD ratio, LARS, LAVI, and IVRT. These measurements help us confirm whether the filling pressure in the left atrium is elevated. If none of these supporting measurements suggest elevated pressure, then we conclude that the left atrial pressure is normal. Even though the ventricle may have impaired relaxation, the filling pressures are still normal. So this pattern would be classified as grade 1 diastolic dysfunction. If one or more of these supporting measurements are abnormal, that suggests that the pressure is building up in the left atrium, so we conclude that the left atrial pressure is elevated. Once we know the left atrial pressure is elevated, we move to the final step of the chart, which is determining the severity of the diastolic dysfunction to decide between grades 2, which is pseudonormal filling, and grade 3, which is restrictive filling. Remember, step 4 is mostly about confirming whether the filling pressure is normal or elevated. Once that question is answered, the chart can then determine what grade of diastolic dysfunction is present. Next, we will use the EA ratio to help determine how severe the filling abnormality is. So now we would go to step 5. Again, we use the E to A ratio to determine the severity. If you have an EA ratio that is less than 2, we would call this grade 2 diastolic dysfunction. If we have an E to A ratio that is greater than or equal to 2, we would consider this grade 3 diastolic dysfunction. Now let me just talk briefly about these individually. Grade 2 diastolic dysfunction is when the E to A ratio is less than 2. So this is considered a pseudonormal filling pattern. It's going to feature elevated left atrial pressure. The E to A ratio is going to look normal, so it requires other perimeters to detect whether it's truly grade 2. Now let's talk about grade 3 diastolic dysfunction. If the E to A ratio is greater than or equal to 2, we consider this grade 3, which is considered restrictive filling. What presents here is very high left atrial pressure, rapid filling, and very poor compliance. Now let's look at some important exceptions. So this is when you would direct your attention to the yellow box. This algorithm does not apply well in certain conditions if the patient has mitral annular calcification, mitral stenosis, mitral regurgitation, AFib, a left ventricular assist device, heart transplant, constrictive pericarditis, or non-cardiac pulmonary hypertension. I want you to keep your eye on the big picture whenever you see this chart. Don't try to memorize the whole chart. Just remember the order. You look at the top, you count the abnormalities, you follow the arrows, you use the E to A to grade it. That's pretty much how it works. So I've made a little map for you to make things easier for the next time you're looking at the ASE chart and you feel a little bit overwhelmed. So how to read this map? You always start by measuring the 3 ASE diastolic variables. the E prime velocity, the E to E prime ratio, and the TR velocity, aka the pulmonary arterial systolic pressure. Next, you're going to count how many of them are abnormal. If 2 or more of them are abnormal, the left atrial pressure is definitely elevated. Finally, you would use the E to A ratio to determine the grade. If the E to A ratio is less than 2, this is going to indicate grade 2 diastolic dysfunction. If the E to A ratio is greater than or equal to 2, this will indicate grade 3 diastolic dysfunction. And that's it. Hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. Thank you for allowing me to help you today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.